I just watched Deadpool and Wolverine, and it seems like they used these real claws the entire time. It was so bloody, so gory. I tried to record a reaction coming out of the theater, and I just kind of sat there on camera, just kind of dumbfounded about what I just saw because it was so amazing. This is going to be spoiler free, no spoilers in this. It's my reaction / my spoiler free review. We are going to do a spoiler review tomorrow. And oh, my mind. There were literally some parts in this where I was just like, oh, my friends, I was like, I didn't even like, it's like, I did, what? And I'm like, I like some things like I knew, but like wasn't sure of. And I think that's a lot of people, you know, a lot of people in our community, we like to see spoiler-ish things or like to hear about these rumors and stuff. And the fun is in us not truly knowing if it's going to happen or not, right? So it's like some things don't happen. Of course, I was wrong about some things. Of course, I'll take the blame for that. But some things, it's like, oh, nah. And then some things, it's like, I forgot about that. And some things I'm just like, no way. So let's kind of break it out. First of all, credit where credit is due. Megaplex, look at this. This is the wrong way. This is the Megaplex popcorn bucket. I'm sorry, it's one of 3 that they had, and this is insane. This is literally 10. This is literally attached. I've never seen anything like this before. Like, it's attached. So then you have that, and then you have this one, which is this is so cool. It's almost like the other popcorn bucket at AMC, but slightly different. And then you have Deadpool right into the head there. So I gotta say, I'm laughing thinking about it. The very first scene, I was busting up laughing. I was dying, and I was like busting up laughing, but also going like, ugh, because like, okay, there's some. It's not too bad, but there are some shots in this that are kind of Deadpool gory, right? Like they didn't hold back on any of the fighting, you know. So basically, like if you had any type of notion that it is rated R, but it's still in Disney, so it's not going to be like as rated R, get rid of that because they do whatever they want here. And I think Kevin Feige said that basically, yeah, no restrictions. Bob Iger said it's rated R. We say it's rated R. Like, no holding back. There was like the one restriction they said about like showing drugs on screen, but they talk about drugs, right? And we've seen some of that in the previews. But man, oh, so from the very beginning, just action. So just for the most part, the movie has a lot of action. There, I will say, sometimes I thought there was some pacing issues, but it's because there is so much action that when you have these moments in between, you're kind of like, oh, now we're slowing down a little bit. But the moments are important. And if you can take the moments for what they are, you'll really appreciate them for what they are. It is a deep movie. It has a lot of deep parts for both Deadpool and Wolverine, and for some other characters as well, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There are obviously cameos, again, no spoilers, but there are obviously cameos. Cameos, some I didn't think about, like think would be in the movie, and then some I thought were going to be in the movie that weren't going to be in the movie, but in my spoiler review, I'll talk about why I believe they weren't in the movie. But I'm just thinking about just this one scene, these couple of scenes, and I'm just like, wow, that was really awesome. And they pulled it off in a way that wasn't cheesy. They pulled a lot of things off that weren't very cheesy. And for me, I heard some people, you know, who saw it at the premiere or screenings, I heard some people say like all the jokes didn't land. For me, I think all of the jokes landed. I'm not sure if it's just me, but you know, my friends that I saw with, like my brother who was sitting right next to me, we were dying like pretty much the entire movie. And then for the emotional parts, like they do hit pretty hard. Like I said, I do have some issues with some of the pacing, But overall, my just kind of initial reaction is like, this movie is freaking awesome. I really do think it's awesome. I will say, it is a event movie, right? It's definitely an event movie, like Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. I don't think it's fair to compare the two because of how big Infinity War and Endgame were, but it is right up there with them. It's definitely one of my favorite Marvel movies. Definitely top 5. I'm gonna watch it again before I can say if it's like top 3, top 4. It's definitely top 5, definitely top 5. And the whole nostalgia of it all really does add to it. And some people are gonna say like, well, that shouldn't be a part of the movie. Well, yes, it actually should for this movie, because everything that happened before plays into the story of this film. So it 100% does tie into what the actual story is. And I think that probably out of everything that's happening, the jokes, the action, the dialogue, probably the one thing that could have been a little bigger was the story. I think it could have been a little longer. Like, this clocked in at like 2 hours and 7 minutes or something like that. And I think that's like through the whole thing, like through the credits and such. But I think, and I guess it's just like wishful thinking at this point, because I remember thinking it multiple times during the movie. I'm like, I don't want this movie to end. I just want it to keep going on and on. Like, I could have literally watched a 4-hour Deadpool and Wolverine film, and I probably, it wouldn't have felt like 4 hours, because the movie didn't feel like 2 hours long. I wanted more, not because I didn't get enough, but just because I had such enjoyment when I was watching the film the entire time. Like, I was so happy the entire time, and I wish that could keep going, right? Having said that, the movie is not without its flaws. It's not a perfect movie, right? There are some things that could have been a little bit better, but watching the movie, I truly do believe that they set out to make exactly what we saw on screen. I think that everything they wanted, we got. And there's some really cool things in there that's like, you know, some of the fourth wall breaks are really clever. They're really funny. They all landed for me. I actually think they really did put a lot in here that are for like true Marvel fans, which I appreciate, but they might go over some people's heads who, you know, maybe haven't watched everything in the MCU, or, you know, aren't as deep in it as, you know, most of us are in this community. But I think because we are all so involved with everything, that the jokes are really going to hit for everybody. So I just, the fourth wall breaks, they always work for me. And there's a kind of a joke about the fourth wall break. There were some things that some reviewers said happened that didn't. Very small things, nothing that would like make or break the movie. But I do remember going like, oh, this never happened. Right, like that didn't happen. And I thought, actually, when I heard the reviews, I was like, that's weird that they would do that. And then it didn't happen. I was like, okay, kind of makes sense now, right? So to me, the biggest smile on my face the entire time, even when they were during like the slower parts, right? And I was just kind of like, well, I was curious as where it was gonna go. I still had a big smile on my face because I'm like, I'm just watching Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, return, and he's there on screen with Deadpool. They're making MCU jokes. Deadpool makes a joke that he's in the MCU, right? It's just, I think it's going to be, for the most part, everything everybody kind of wants from the movie. When I do my spoiler review, I'll get more into the things that I thought could have been different, because unfortunately to talk about those, I'd have to, you know, reveal those. But this is spoiler free, so we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite Marvel movies out there. It's going to be one of my favorite movies ever. I can't wait to watch it a bunch more. If you have seen it, please share your thoughts with me. And if you haven't, I hope this gets you really excited for it. And if you guys get a chance, there's a lot of different buckets and merch and stuff out there that I think are really cool, that if you think are cool too. You should get. But I loved it. I'm going to see it again tonight. Actually, I left some time in obviously to do a review, and then I'm gonna do a breakdown video right now explaining the ending, because some people might be kind of confused about the ending, but I know why they're doing everything. Like I see why. So I'm stoked. This movie was fantastic. I plan to see it many times because I loved it so much. Literally from the start to the end, it's just a laugh fest, and not in a cheesy way, which I think is really important when you're throwing so many jokes out there. So I loved it. I think it's a huge hit. If you're asking me, is Marvel back? Yeah, I would say so. I think this is top quality for Marvel. I really do. There's a lot of heart in it. You can tell that they put their souls into this, and it came out in what I think is an amazing film. Again, not without flaws, but we'll talk about that in the spoiler review. In the meantime, let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for Deadpool and Wolverine, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Woof woof.